Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or the guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Dawn Melanie. I want to thank you for joining me today for another episode of my series titled Managing Self, where I share with you, the listeners, how I have and how I continue to manage myself. More importantly, how I've been managing myself living with multiple sclerosis for the past nearly 2 decades. My symptoms onset on September the 11th, 9/11/98, not 9/11/01. Those were the attacks on the MS by the terrorist group Al-Qaeda. My symptoms onset back then, but they still continue today. And the onset of things are usually the worst. Things are bad, and oftentimes it comes and goes, like a hurricane. The winds blow in and it leaves. Well, my MS, and you probably out there can relate to this, my MS symptoms, a lot still exist, and a lot of remnants remain behind. Like my visual adeptness isn't as fine as it used to be. The dexterity of my hand has left me and no longer there. My eyesight did return, and my hearing did as well, but my gait is still compromised with the leftovers from drop foot, things like that. My balance is severely affected. So either way, I think my MS is kind of like the storm that never left. It's still stirring up waters and winds and things of that nature. With this being said, I'm sure you all know by now, or especially in previous episodes, that my mom has been a great influence upon me and my development. But one thing I do now as an adult, being influenced by my mom, is that before I leap, I look. And you all know that I'm not leaping anywhere. I have MS, 20 years. I'm walking. I have remnants of drop foot. My right foot still to this day. I can't jump. I can't do a jumping jack, yada, yada, yada. So I'm not leaping. But, metaphorically, before I leap, I look. Look both ways, left, right, left, all that good stuff. And I do this now. I've always done it, but after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, I have to stay calm. I've noticed I have to stay calm because, believe you me, MS has reared its ugly head more than once. I just told you, vision, hearing, can't walk. It's pretty crazy, and it continues to, affect or impact, excuse me, my daily life. And I'm living the experience, and some people may understand or see how it affects me and understand, well, wow, she's having problems walking right now, but they may not be able to see that I'm super tired, and my cognitive abilities are impaired for the moment. I'm just so fatigued I can't even move or, just basic functions in life. They can't see that. But, that's when I know that I need to make the choice to be in control more. And just like my mom has always encouraged me to do, is to not only establish my personal credibility or, as a person, as an upright person, but maintain and further myself to be the best I can be, with whatever cards that I'm dealt or whatever comes my way. I don't want to get the same results. I want better results always. First of all, I want better results always. But also, I'm not going to sit on my hands and just let things go by me without addressing them. So, one thing I do have is, like I say, I may have a fleeting thought of FMS, but I'll definitely say that I have no problems with expressing or letting someone know that I have arsenal of F-bombs. I shouldn't say bombs, maybe. Well, I've also I say F bombs because people think the F word, 4-letter words, blah blah blah, and it's usually just scary. It's a scary situation, but that's kind of how I look at MS sometimes. I go, okay, I got you, MS. I have my F bombs for you. Yeah, and they all start with the letter F. One is the one that I detonate before I even put my foot on the floor first thing in the morning when I wake up. That was my faith, and just to beyond the general definition of faith as believing without seeing something. I'm talking about my Christian faith. That's my ultimate F bomb, my faith bomb, and I liken it to a smoke bomb. Because I think I light it, boom, I get out of bed, hit the floor, and hopefully not fall on the floor, but my feet hit the floor, and it's like this faith smoke. It's like it engulfs me, and it not only then, but it's around me. It's literally, I'm walking in it throughout the day, and it's amazing. That's my ultimate F bomb to battle MS on a daily basis, or to manage myself with MS. And all the other my other arsenal elements, or F bombs, or elements that start with the letter F, are food, nutritious food, fitness, that is fit lifestyle, exercise daily, things like that, or most days. Have fun. Fun is definitely one of my arsenal. Family and friends. Spend time with those individuals, all to help you be happier, stress less, and give MS less to work with as far as giving it juice to affect you in a negative way even more so than it is doing by itself. So of these F bombs, food, fitness, fun, family, faith. Today I want to focus on food only. Individuals tend to look at food sometimes in a demonizing light. When I say a demonizing light, I'm saying they look at food, particularly some foods versus others. They go, okay, that food is just that's food bad for you. You can't eat that. This food is good for you. You need to eat this all the time and nothing else. Well, I don't think like that. I don't think of food as my enemy. I like food. I like most foods. You guys know I like pizza, I like burgers, I like ice cream, I like food. And so I don't think of food as my enemy. I think of food as an ally, especially if it can help me. So many people go, well, you can't have this because it does this. Well, why do you focus on what I can't have? How about focus on what I can have? And if I want to have a burger or ice cream every now and then, I'll be okay. And that's life. I believe life is I don't say a box of chocolates. I don't use that when I use that previously, but I think it should be more diversified, or not. I don't believe in absolutes. Like we can only have this, we can't have that. So I'm gonna have everything that I want in moderation, and that's how I think we should kind of look at this whole food thing more so than total exclusions that we can't have certain items. Now, I'm not a doctor. I want to clarify that. And I have no formal training. Well, I have no training in the medical field, but I can read. And oftentimes I read a lot. Read information that comes across my way when I open my email in the morning or throughout the day. And nothing special. Just the usual stuff that I'm sure you also receive as a result of sending in your email address to receive some health journal or weekly newsletter about a subject that you may have been mildly interested in, but you send in your email address anyway. Now you're flooded with a ton of emails from this provider, like 3 times a day. Some of it I read, some of it I don't, but most of it I at least take a quick glance at, so I can, I don't want anything to get past me if it can help. Kind of goes in line with me. My way of thinking is I always look at the glass as always half full, not half empty. Again, I don't want to focus on the negative. I want to focus on what I have. And I generally read a lot of information, some so a lot of it's repeat, just the same things said in a different way. But I'll read it anyway, and I know that I usually still find myself walking away thirsty. I'll take a big old gulp of the information, and I'll walk away thirsty for more knowledge, and especially if it's related to multiple sclerosis. I take that big gulp, and let me clarify one more thing before I swallow. I take the gulp. I do check other views on the discussed topic, and one could say that I get a second opinion. Just like when you go to a doctor, you may not, quote unquote, gel with him or her, but it's your right. You have the right to shop around for physicians, and I have a right to not take your word at face value. So because we have so much information available to us on the internet, etc., I'll check different sources and check their opinions, bounce them back and forth, weigh the pros and cons, weigh what I know as far as being credible sources versus somebody who just wants to be a political pundit or something like that. So I read a lot, but I also have to take it with a grain of salt sometimes, and just use good common sense, or be, like I said, a little bit skeptical, but nonetheless, it's all in the means of how I'm thinking about my health. So this past week, it seems I've been inundated with a bunch of these opinions on food, the emails and whatnot, and these opinions have been particularly regarding food consumption. Eat this, not that, and of course more of the latter. Don't eat that. We don't, not to my knowledge, we don't have a food police squad that we have to follow the rules for, but the number of food opinions that's been going around here lately by the quote-unquote experts and the nutrition enthusiasts, it's been downright overwhelming. That's why I said I'm only going to talk about my F-bomb of food today. We've totally become accustomed to supersizing our order at every dining experience, not just special occasions, birthday parties, anniversaries, graduation. But every time we sit down now, we have a tendency to supersize our meal. And I'll be honest, why not? It's usually just an additional $1 or so you can get, larger fries and larger soda. And even though we know that we're probably not going to eat it all at that sitting, we kind of eat until we're stuffed. We feel uncomfortable physically, and not until we lean back and we unbutton our belt, and we're kind of going, man, maybe I didn't need that macaroni and cheese, the extra help of the macaroni and cheese that I ordered, besides this all you can eat, or that extra basket of all you can eat riblets, because man, it's going to go in the garbage bag. But then you go, wait, you say, you're breathing hard, and you get one good breath, and you exhale to wait staff. You're like, wait a minute, doggy bag, basically saying, hey, pick all this stuff up off the table. Anything that's edible, I'm taking it home. Wrap it up, put it in the bag so I can eat it again tomorrow, or maybe even at night when you probably don't need to be eating that kind of stuff. You realize it's man, it's only Tuesday, and this is my third time I've done this, eating too much and taking home the quote-unquote leftovers in a doggy bag. This is kind of why I say we have such an abundance of food, especially here in America. Now interestingly, today, the information that I received that kind of sparked my my desire to target this show or feature food on today's episode is that I didn't get it from the World Wide Web or the internet. I actually got the information I got today was from a person who I had met only a few hours prior. Actually, I don't even know if I had met him an hour before we started talking. Right now, I'm at the I was at the poolside at my gym, and I was in a lounge chair, lying around, enjoying the weather, not swimming, but People are like, man, it's 99 degrees and sunny and hot. What are you doing outside? You have MS. Don't you know? Yeah, I know. And I know that's probably my number one enemy, but I had my arsenal. Remember me? I got F-bombs, and, I never just sit back and concede to defeat of MS, so I'm ready. I'm always ready. So with my Christian faith and good common sense, I knew I'd be okay. A little sunblock on here, plenty hydration. I could take it. But the gentleman to whom I'm referring, he made a comment about food choices and nutrition. Like I said, I'm at the pool and people are walking around with hot dogs and the kids had hot dogs. Generally, our gym has healthy food, but the kids still did have hot dogs and things like that, which is, I don't know what hot dogs are made of. I'd rather not think about it. Anyway, he made a comment about food choices, and he said, man, people don't understand, but you just can't bless a cheeseburger. To which I replied, huh? He said, you can't bless a cheeseburger. To which I quickly raised my eyebrows, and after a gut-busting laugh, I'm like, that's so silly. I told myself, well, before I eat food, cheeseburgers included, I do say a blessing. I thank my Heavenly Father for the gifts bestowed upon me, and asking Him that the food that I'm going to eat, that it enriches the nourishment of my body. And I told him, and he giggled. Now, it wasn't an offensive giggle. He didn't challenge my religious beliefs or anything like that, but what he did was he explained his statement. And I gotta say, I was quite taken aback, because in such a short time, he outlined in a very clear, concise manner something that I had not yet encountered on the internet or basically anywhere. But like I said, he explained something to me in a very short amount of time, and I was taken aback, probably more so because of my own self. I hadn't encountered this information because I had been turning over the same rocks. Kind of like, my mom said, you do the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same results. Well, I was turning over the same rocks, looking on the internet, looking at, mailers or things like that, but basically the same information. So I hadn't gone into maybe a more a medical view on things like that, like just hardcore medical, and that's why it's more interesting for me. Like I said, I was doing the same thing, looking the same places, getting the same answers, but he introduced some information to me that I later read on, and I was like, wow. This trainer, he broke it down to me pretty basic. I like this methodical approach to a healthy lifestyle assessment, and then altering it beyond, like I said, my previous understanding. He broke it down real simply. He said, the human body is made up of 11 important organ systems. And I'll see if I can get, how many can I get? Let's see, 11 organ systems, including, the circulatory, your blood and heart and stuff like that, pumping blood. So circulatory, respiratory, breathing, digestive, excretory, nervous, and endocrine systems. Now there's, also a couple other ones like the skeleton and muscle, and our reproductive systems are also included. But those work together for human function, basic human functions of the human body. Function of the human body. But not a subset, but more importantly, he said there's five vital organ systems. And those are the brain, heart, kidneys, liver, and lungs. Yeah, 5 of those. So these are vital to the human body. The human brain is a kind of like the control center of the body, and it sends the signals to other organs through the nervous system and hormones. And unfortunately, we also know that with MS means multiple sclerosis, means scars, and that's the scars on our nerves. So because our wires are frayed or our nerves are damaged, our signals are kind of jacked up, or should I say compromised, from our brain oftentimes, thus the difficulties in speech or walking or hearing or sight, etc., etc. So, 11 organ systems, but 5 that are vital, and those are the ones that like I said, because they're vital. He says he's a personal trainer. I'm sorry, I don't think I said that before. I apologize, but he's a personal trainer. He was explaining that before he, develops a personal training program for someone. He likes to discuss with the client their health, the present health situation, and see if there's any lack or room for improvement, especially for a significant improvement in any of these 5 organ systems. What was interesting to me is that he was talking about these 5 major, or 5 vital, not major, vital human organs or systems. Yeah, 5 vital systems. And he pointed out that, as a trainer, he's a trainer, by the way, a personal trainer, but he's saying that before he sits down and develops a training program for a client, that he sits down and assesses what their current health situation is like. If they're lacking or experiencing any significant problems in any of the said 5 vital organ systems, because each of these are going to affect the other. One example is the lungs. The lungs, which are part of the respiratory system. We know if you are smoking and smoking 10 packs of cigarettes, and if you're smoking or not, if you develop some emphysema, COPD, you can't breathe and effectively get oxygen to your system. Well, that means your brain's not getting the necessary oxygen it needs to function. So you're probably going to have a stroke and or die. So see how lungs affects the brain. Your maybe affect your heart. I don't know, but nonetheless, each of these vital organs affect the other. One interesting one that I didn't know is kidneys. Kidneys have a function in breaking down sugar that we consume, and I learned this a couple days ago reading some articles, but table sugar, which is made up, I believe, glucose and fructose. Fructose is the bad guy, which a lot of manufacturers, or some people call it big food. We heard of big pharma, but some people refer to it as big food. The manufacturers will put fructose syrup in food, and it's cheaper, and I think it also stabilizes it for like a longer shelf life. But whatever, it's not good for us, and it's not good for us because our kidneys processes that, and it ultimately leads to a negative effect on our bodies, very similar, if not the same, as the consumption of too much alcohol. So people are like, hey, you're drinking too much booze, but how many people sit and go, man, you're eating too much sugar. And the sneaky thing is we always think of, ice cream sundae is sugar, or ice cream, or I don't know, candy bars, things like that. But we fail to recognize the sugar that's in actually a lot of other products that, again, food companies will put them in there, and we don't realize that it's sugar because we see fructose, or oftentimes we see corn fructose. There's so many aliases or different names that companies use that all are sugar. We fail to see that. So it's interesting, but that's one thing I want to talk about next week in a little bit more detail, is the how sugar really is the bad guy. Like I said, I think I started off saying how people say don't eat this, don't eat that, or food is bad because you couldn't eat that. Well, yes and no. I think it depends. You can eat whatever you want to in moderation, and this is just one example of you have to kind of be aware and be mindful of what you're eating at all times. Sugar's good, sugar's bad. Butter's bad, margarine's good, margarine's bad. butter's good, milk ain't good, milk is good, whole milk is bad, on and on and on. Egg yolks today, no egg yolks tomorrow. I'm like, seriously, just let me eat what I want to in moderation. And I don't know. I think things will be easier. We won't stress out about it as much. I try not to stress out about every scare or potential scare that comes across my way, especially dealing with my multiple sclerosis. Until you can give me a definitive cure or something known, I'm a cynic. I'm a medical cynic. I don't want to say that I don't believe them, but unless you can tell me definitively that something has been proven 100% of the times, you don't know the answer. So, only thing I can do is know that I still have multiple sclerosis, still to this very day, almost 20 years. I every day I strive to practice mindful habits, ones that'll enrich me, my health. Ones habits that'll develop and would ultimately behoove me to possess, to have the best life possible that I can as I continue to manage my multiple sclerosis. I know personally here goes my metaphors. I know I personally don't go out to my hood in my car and check the fluids every day. Nope, sure don't. I don't know anybody who does. But I'm always looking at that gasoline stats, fuel number, your last drive, you got this, and, you have this many miles until you're empty. I'm always looking at that stuff. It's kind of, I don't know, it's interesting. But whatever. After today's info that I got from the trainer at my gym, and then the additional information that I uncovered by being proactive in gaining more knowledge about the situation, I am going to take steps in the future to assess what to take the time to I'll take the time to assess and pay attention to my body even more so. Not just like, oh, okay, I feel like this today, I don't feel like that today, I'm tired, I'm not tired, but really take the time to look at each of the 5 major organs in my body, critically assess the soundness of each of those. And this week, I want to challenge each of you out there listening today to kind of join me. And I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it all in one day or anything like that. And I don't expect anybody to do that. But the first one I'm going to start with is, and I've already started. I'll be honest, I've already started. But I want to take a week to perhaps do each one, if not longer. But serious time. I know that food is always important, and we have to make a decision on food every day. What are we going to eat? What aren't we going to eat? What are we going to pass up? What are we going to have seconds on? So this week I challenge all of you listening to ask yourself, which of the 5 vital organ systems I could improve? I say improve, that is efforts that you make, foods that you eat, decisions that you make. How could you potentially improve the status, the efficiency, the health of those 5 vital organ systems? Like I said, this week I'm doing food. I'm going to make sure I'll be more mindful of decisions I make when I cook, when I eat. Dinner preparation for my husband and I. It's going to be more reflective of, well, we really don't need that, and that's not really good for us. So we have alternatives. We have plenty of grocery stores available. Stuff going outside, you can pull in and use, like whether it be herbs or something like that, things that we can use. So I'm gonna be very mindful, practice those mindful habits that'll help me to develop and even expand upon my knowledge that I have to allow me to possess the best possible life that I can, living with or without multiple sclerosis. This is Dawn Melanie, and again, I thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Managing Self. And I do hope you'll join me next week when I'll discuss more about food. Like I said, I had a lot more to talk about, but I ran out of time. But I do want to continue this discussion next week, no doubt. So thank you again for listening. I do wish you all have a blessed day, a blessed week. Thank you.